Hello. My name is Kim Addis, and I am the president and founder of Frame of Mind Coaching. And you have just joined the Frame of Mind Coaching podcast, where we invite leaders from all over the world to come onto the podcast and get coached live and in person. Today, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to my guest. Her name is Kate Bradley Chernis, and she comes from a company called Lately. Kate, welcome.
Hi, Kim. Thank you so much. Hello from flurry-filled New York, but not New York City, up about 2 hours north in the country.
Okay, well, we're so happy to have you on the show,
Thanks.
even if it's flurry filled. Tell us a little bit about what you do. What is Lately?
Yeah, thanks. So Lately is the only social media platform that creates content for you. And we do that by instantly learning what your audience wants to read, hear, or watch by studying your analytics. And then we apply what we learn to your long form content and atomize it into hundreds and hundreds of social posts. So like this video, you would just upload it, push a button, and we would instantly give you about 40 or so mini movie trailers of like the best one-liners that you or I say.
Really? And how does it establish what is the best? Like when you say we analyze what your, I guess, audience wants to hear,
Mhm.
is it based on what the audience has liked in the past, or is it based on who the audience is? Is it based on who you want your audience to be? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it can be a combination. So we first study the analytics that you give us through connecting to your social accounts. And we're looking for what people like and comment and share. And we build writing models based on literally the words in the social posts that have had that high engagement. But we also take into consideration what's happening with our other customers as well, and some general best practices. And then you have the ability to feed the AI and constantly curate it. So it's really important to us that humans participate because human connection, as you know better than anyone, Kim, it's you can't replicate this through a robot, right?
Right.
And you don't want to, right? So you want the robot to start you at third base. That's what we do, and that's saying something, right? Like getting you all the way to third base, but the human is the person is the part that takes you home, that gets the run, right?
Interesting. So
Yeah.
interesting. So I'm very kind of personally curious about this because, as you know, we create a ton of content. And like, would you just go back into kind of historical content and you
Yeah.
would just put it into your kind of machine and make that all happen?
Totally, because why not, right? I mean, so it's like, I feel like content is like garlic. Like you work so hard to peel that sucker and then chop up every little piece, and everything from the knife has to get in the pan. Like I don't leave anything to waste. And content is the same way. You worked hard on this. I mean, I know I was on the receiving end of your setup. I know how much time you guys already spent, right? And getting butts and seats live or at the time of publication is an antiquated idea, by the way, and marketing has been very slow on catching up, especially conferences, as you can tell, and they're trying to radically pivot, right now. But this trend has already been happening. Just think of the way you digest TV or radio, right? Not live generally,
Right.
which is why Clubhouse is, by the way, a weird anomaly right now. So what we really, I like to do this with not only content that I've created, but also earned media. So I'm going to ask you for this file afterwards and use it too, right? Because why would I waste this amazing opportunity of my time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So let me just ask you, you said it's a social media platform.
Yeah.
So does that mean that it's like a Facebook, or does it feed social media platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok?
Yeah, good question. So social media management platform. So my mistake. But so our competitors would be Hootsuite or Sprinkler or
Okay.
Sprout
Okay.
Social,
Okay.
who, by the way, are all a decade or more old and haven't evolved
They're old.
whatsoever.
They don't know anything anymore, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So tell me, what is your greatest challenge right now? Like, how can I help you through coaching?
Yeah, so I wrote down something when we were prepping before, and that was figuring out what so I have two actually, one that I didn't get to talk about earlier, but I was
Perfect.
thinking about it this morning. So we're in this weird place as a company where there's that book, Crossing the Chasm, and so we think we're crossing the chasm.
Okay.
And what's required to do that is to basically upend everything you know that works and to do something new, right? And to switch from the early adopters to, the next group of people. And that requires different marketing messaging, a different customer profile, different pricing. Like there's a whole, big shift there. What's sticking with me is that every time I do anything that anybody tells me to do, it doesn't work.
So give me an example. Be very, very specific. And really tell me what they've told you to do and how you've done it and how it hasn't worked. And then I'm going to ask you a different question.
Okay, yeah. So I'm in SaaS, which is software as a service, right? And
Yep.
I'm in the venture fundraising game. So that's a whole world with very specific rules.
Yep.
And in SaaS, what's been taught generally is there's two ways to scale. It's all about scaling quickly, right? And one way is throw a lot of money at marketing, right? So paid advertising, etc. We learned that pay because that's how you scale. You typically can't scale organic, of course, because organic means by hand, right?
Right.
Manual. But
Yeah.
we have janked the system by using our own product,
Yeah.
right? So lately uses lately to market lately, and we have a 98% sales conversion. Gary Vaynerchuk is my customer,
Wow.
and we get customers a 12,000% increase in engagement, right? And
Okay.
because we walk our talk externally with how we market, how we treat our customers once we get them, and then how we are internally to each other. Okay. So,
Sounds good.
yeah, so that's great. The tough thing on that end, so there's two ways. So, this is the one way. So, the tough thing is this scalable? Because the way we do it is I do interviews. I'm interesting. I'm a woman, rock and roll DJ, AI, all the things. And I get a lot of I do a lot of podcasts. I do one a day basically, and I use it. It's our only lead gen source. That's it. And we drive everyone into a demo. This is also a complicated thing because the demo requires a human to spend a half an hour with you, and that's not scalable. But we've learned to make everyone we touch into an advocate, because the thing I know best when I had 20 million listeners at XM is how to make fans into evangelists. I'm an expert at that, right? And when you have evangelists, they go and get customers for you. So I believe that's way more powerful than an ad.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've focused our efforts all on that, and we've been able to bootstrap essentially ourselves in against all odds, all the odds around being a female entrepreneur and a million other things. And I increased our MRR, our monthly recurring revenue, 204% in 10 months, doing just this, you know?
Okay.
So
So are you unhappy with that rate of growth?
no, I think it's amazing, but it's not enough for the industry. It doesn't matter how many bells I ring. I'm a female entrepreneur in MarTech. Strike, strike.
So
Right.
so hold on a second. Two ways to scale.
Yeah. The other way is um, my brain just broke for 1 second. So it's either paid advertising, or you set up like basically an SDR bank. So a sales development rep, bunch of people do cold calls and cold emails, right? And it's a numbers game. So how many people can you annoy and hit? Somebody's bound to pick up the phone, and you just create a funnel based on you learn what the numbers game is.
Okay.
We don't like that because we don't like to be on the receiving end of that. And I believe that system is broken. Now, there's certainly companies that still do that, but I don't want to be that company.
Okay. So I still don't see what your struggle is.
Ah, thank
Because
you.
it sounds to me like you have a very clear vision and a very clear set of values about how you want to communicate and how you want to come across. And you've already implemented a system that is working. Your frustration is rate of growth. If you were to grow faster, do you have the capacity to handle that faster growth?
Well, so thanks for digging in. I mean, the question is, can this last, right? Because I'm only one human. How many podcasts can I freaking do, right? We have 388 customers. And also, are these customers the early adopters? That's only so if you want to grow to the larger crew, you have to change, right? I mean, So that's and I can see it already dwindling, frankly, right? So I know something has to
What
change.
are you watching? What do you mean I can see it dwindling? What's dwindling?
So our KPI, our key performance indicator
Yeah.
is demo requests, because I know I'm going to convert it at a rate of 98%, right? And I
Okay.
know the podcast that I do or the interviews that I do drive demo requests. It's been a very strange mix, because on the one hand, because I haven't raised in 2 years and wasn't able to pay my staff until recently, right? They haven't been paid in 2 years. I didn't have enough people to address those demo requests. I didn't have my software updated enough to help automate with self-service capabilities, because I couldn't pay my tech team, for example, right? That's starting to flip because I'm able to pay people again, which is great. But the other challenge we have is disqualification. So a lot of people want to use Lately, but a lot of people who um, aren't aren't quite adept enough marketers. They don't want to do work. Marketing takes work. So we have a very long tail. Like every Gary Vee is a customer. He has 20 million followers. All of his followers would be great customers for us, right? But they're such micro marketers that the product is too advanced for them right now. It doesn't mean I can't be like Salesforce and go down market someday, but right now that's not the case. And so number one, are we running out of our target audience? And then because we've seen the KPI of the demo requests go down. We've also seen more and more of those disqualified people come in. That said, we did just totally change our website, all the messaging, put up pricing to repel those customers, frankly, right? To help us better dequalify. And all of these things are in place right now. But Kim, my gut is what everybody pays for. My gut is what wins us. And my gut is telling me that the way to win is going to be a combination of what we're doing now and something else. And I don't know what the something else is, because we're upselling now to a larger market, a more sophisticated market, not quite enterprise, but in that arena. And they certainly expect certain things, like a sales deck, for example. But we keep learning that even those customers that we sell want to be treated like humans. They want the regular chit chat. They don't want the whole boring ass, treat me like I'm a logo to logo conversation. I don't want to do that also. But I'm sorry to talk so long, but like at the same time, I know that I've played that game a little bit before, so I had enough taste in enterprise land where, you have to demo a million people internally and find out who the check writer is, and it's a very long process unless you have a Slack model, by the way. So the Slack model was build something so low enough price that nobody needed to get permission from their boss to write the check, right? And that's how it spread. Now we tried it that way a long time ago, and the value, I don't know if you've ever heard this metaphor, but it's like the Cuisinart value, like somebody, I forget, Williams Sonoma sold the Cuisinart. It was awesome. They priced it $100. Nobody wanted it. So they put in a second model priced at like $350, and everybody started buying it. Right. So it's this idea of what the value looks like. So when we price ourselves low, people churn because they don't understand it, or they compare us to Hootsuite, and we're not Hootsuite. We're a fucking rocket ship, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
TMI.
Let me flip. No, beautiful. I mean, I listen to you and I'm falling in love. But so that's
Thank you.
besides the point. And I'm sure that that happens over and over and over and over again with you. And that is your experience. So the question becomes, first of all, I find historically that when leaders have a place where they're stuck, it's usually a function of a set of beliefs that's causing, let's call it a bottleneck.
Mhm.
So you have a set of beliefs, and we just started talking, and I'd love to spend more time with you to explore them. But right off the bat, you have a set of beliefs, and one of the beliefs is I have to be the one to do all the work, right?
True.
And so right off the bat, that belief is creating stress for you.
Mm.
Okay, so now the question is,
Yes.
I have to do all the work, and it has to look like this
Yes.
for now.
Hmm.
And so what we want to do is push back and say, does it have to be you? And does it have to look like this? So if demos are working, can we automate demos? up to a point to self screen a whole bunch of people out and then offer them that human touch. Maybe we can create a process where we interact with people a little later on. So you're interacting with fewer people and not as much with some of the people who are not qualified for purchase.
Mm.
So that's a question. Another question is, you're the spokesperson, clearly, and you're doing a phenomenal job. Do you need to be the only spokesperson?
No, and I've already got two of my other team that I'm pushing them into doing these interviews because they're great at it. So like,
Right.
and you know, it's funny though, like I saw that early on, and uh, investors don't see that as a way of scale. And I'm like, what? That seems like stupid to me. Of course it is. It's just
Well,
so
and you're
funny.
trying to prove the concept, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm
and
trying to
and
come.
and that's what you really need to do. And then
Yeah,
the other piece of it is, like, you're talking about interviews, which I know that they work. I
yeah,
really do. But what else is there? And so
yeah. What else is there?
what else is there? And there could be a million other else's. So one else is, if you have early adopters, how are we leveraging them appropriately? How are we partnering with them? How are we um, getting them? You talk about that they're evangelists. What exactly are they doing? And can we hone that? Can we not only monetize it, but can we create a process that's easy for them to execute, that's repeatable, and that's manageable? Because I know that when you have an evangelist, it's wonderful, but it's also sporadic, it's haphazard, right? We don't know when they're going to say what, right? It's not
Yeah.
it's not part of a process, and it's not anything we can predict. So when we have an evangelist, we say that's amazing, but we can't put it on our spreadsheet and forecast their
Right.
evangelical whims, right? That doesn't work. And so the
Yeah.
question becomes, are there partnerships to be had with evangelists? I'm going to go one step further. It sounds like what you are doing is incredible. So, who are the influencers that are willing to be actually your investors,
Yeah.
right?
Gary.
Okay.
Right.
But
Yeah.
there's more than just Gary in the
Yeah.
world, right?
Yeah.
And so now what does that look like? What could that be like? So instead of creating the whole pitch deck methodology, and I get it, it doesn't suit you, it doesn't fit for you, it's not who you want to be or how you want to do things, then who else can be an investor? And perhaps investment looks a little different. Maybe it's an investment of time,
Mm.
maybe it's a low investment for some kind of return. And so we need to think about what investment looks like that isn't necessarily traditional. Because everything you're telling me, you're screaming out, I am not traditional. I don't want to do things the old fashioned way.
I don't.
And so in order for you to do things a new way, we need to think about relationships differently. And we need to think about what is a win-win for both of us.
Right.
So for me, as an example, I
Mm.
mean, I'm not Gary Vee by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm very interested in your product because I do create a lot of content. So if I see that it works, what relationship can we create that allows you to create a predictive system?
Yeah. So thank you. And we've started down this path as well, like with our customers. So we created a Slack channel for our customers only, and started out, a little half-assed because we didn't have time, but we now devoted someone there, and we can see the conversations happening. We did it because we wanted them to start crowdsourcing their own. We find that our customers have marketing questions all the time, some related to lately, some not. And they also really value community. We do a lot of our own live shows, and the chat is pretty lively. And it's impressive to me to see how well they want to help each other and chat. So we wanted to create that community. But it's funny because now everybody is doing that. And so now we're striving to figure out, like, well, what's special about us? The one thing there is we have a channel called Sharing is Caring, and we do it internally with my own employees, and we do it with our customers. And anybody can post any social link there to something that they've written they want people to pile on, you know? And it's fun because it's great to watch people help each other, but they always help us. And I'm sort of judicious about when I ask for help, like, hey guys, would you mind piling onto this? And they all do. It's amazing, Kim. It really is. Like you said, it's not predictable. However, Oh, so the other thing we do, by the way, is every customer or target that comes into our midst, we instantly follow them on all of our social channels. And I have an intern that asks them to connect as me on LinkedIn so
Mhm.
we can watch them and we're sharing their content, like we're being friendly and nice. And then so they feel like it's a warm lead,
I
right?
understand that, but that's
Yeah.
all like, let's call that gravy. That's
That's
all
gravy. That's
that's
gravy.
your
That's right.
customer service effort. That's not your business model. Do you
Right.
understand what I'm saying? Like, oh,
Yes.
we share and they're nice. So you're counting on their kindness. You're not
Yes.
counting on a built-in system.
Yeah. I need a system.
And what I'm suggesting to you is that perhaps there are some, let's say you said you have 318 clients. Maybe in that 318 there are 20 of them that are willing to enter into a more formal relationship where there are KPIs for their voice.
Yeah, so it's worth revisiting, to be honest. We've tried affiliate programs about 4 times now, and they've been a huge waste in the fucking pain in the ass. I can't
I
even say
understand. I
it.
get that.
So
And
we
so
need a new way.
even if the word affiliate sounds icky, right?
Yeah, it
And
does.
I know I've
Exactly,
tried
right?
it myself.
So
Affiliate programs don't work, but partnerships work.
right, they do.
Partnerships where there's a win-win for you and the other person in a very unique way. And what that means is you need to understand their unique needs. And it
Yep.
means you have to explore and say, what could this look like? What would a win-win be? As opposed to, here, I'll give you 10% for any sale you make, which
Yeah, I
is,
hate that.
I hate it too.
It
So,
doesn't work.
so your job right now is to do a little research and literally take, 20 of your whatever, 50, doesn't really matter, of your clients and say, what would it look like if we grew this together?
Yeah, I will think about this. I mean, you're right. I mean, what I know is that I need to look at the things. It's always right in front of me. I know that. It always is, right? And it's just a matter of like reimagining what's in front of me and putting our twist on it, you know?
Well, if you have fans, and it sounds like you do, how do you work with them in a whole other way, at a whole other level, in a whole other kind of relationship that isn't just, you know, okay, yeah, I'll be kind to you. It's more formal.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have so literally every day for the last year, somebody writes about us spontaneously on social every single day, right? It's
Amazing.
amazing. That's amazing because we're little old us, right? We're not Hootsuite or Gary V for sure. But and the human connection part has been a big piece of it, right? Th- I don't I don't know what formalizing that looks
Well,
like.
here's the thing is
And
that you're thinking that you need to have an answer. And
yeah,
my recommendation to you is the next step is a little research. And it's to go and have
yeah,
conversations with people and find out what would really turn their crank. What would get them excited about getting involved at a higher level, understanding your financial restraints.
yeah. Okay.
What could that look like? And they might throw something at you that you totally didn't expect.
Yeah, I think that I said out loud what I know they value, and it's community, right? It's not money. The ones who really care.
Right.
Yeah,
But still,
yeah,
maybe it's a different, maybe what they're looking for is direct consulting from you. And in exchange, I'm making it up.
yeah, yeah. I don't
Really,
want to do that,
truly,
but
I
yeah,
understand
I
that.
get it.
But
Be
maybe it's a
creative.
mastermind.
Yeah,
It doesn't necessarily have to be a one-on-one. Maybe it's, I want stocks in your company. Maybe it's something else, but you
yeah.
don't know because we haven't asked.
I'm totally open to a creative brainstorm on that. So I will think about my customers in a more productive way.
Well, talk to them,
Yeah,
ask them very pointed questions and say, here's my goal, here's what I want to do. And I envision that you could be a really big part of this. A, are you interested? B, what could this look like for
my
us?
my one challenge, Kim, here is that the customers we have for the most part are so small that I'd have to light up all of them, right? Not just one or two or 10 or 20, because it's not their networks are smaller than mine for the most part, right? So just being very practical. Um, that I need, so it has to be, I mean, we've created a channel partnership product basically that we're about to launch with HubSpot and a few others that will be the more technical aspect of this. Um, but being frank, like it doesn't make sense to, you can have a million people for $1 or one person for $1 million, right? I got a million people for $1 right now. Not really, but I'm in that place. So I
Yeah,
have to figure
but you
out,
don't have, you
yeah,
have those people for $1, maybe $5, maybe $5,000,
yeah,
right? But what I'm
$350
seeing,
is what they have them
yes,
at.
but here's what's interesting for me. What I feel is
Yeah,
like you're lacking critical information from these people about what a true partnership would look like and how they would benefit from something in association with you.
sure.
So, like, again,
I
do
got
you
to
have
think
to
about
be
it.
the one?
Yeah.
Does it have to look all we know for sure is you want it to be different. You don't want to
Yeah.
follow the same old pattern. So you're about to create something new, and you're like, I know there's something new, except you're not communicating with those very people who are probably chock full of information. Right now you need to gather that information and then do some analysis. That's where you are, I think, in your stage.
Yeah. I think that is a good piece of the problem to re-examine for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
And really, like, when you say my gut works for me, that's amazing because so many people ignore their gut,
yeah, I
right?
learned
And
the
so
hard way.
right. And so not that my gut is more important or valuable than yours, but part of what makes your gut work is the relationships you have with your existing clients.
Yeah, I love them. They're really wonderful people.
Exactly. So we need to tune in there a little bit more and turn on your gut at a higher level. So have those conversations with those people.
Okay. We can
Does
do
that
that.
make sense?
It does make sense. I'm thinking about all the other shit I gotta address at the same time, of course, and how all these pieces can fit together. And I'm excited about it. Like these are all good problems to have. They don't keep me up at night because I'm like freaked out. They keep me up at night because like I want to know the answer.
Yeah, and you're excited and
Yeah.
your energy is oozing that excitement. So
Thanks.
it's
I'm also tired, to be honest. I mean, this is it's a long, this haul. It's a very long haul, and
it's a very long haul at a very strange time in our lives.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and you can see. I know now why I'm 47. So I don't have children. I can see now
You
why.
look like you're 23.
Thanks. I spend a lot of money on eye cream. And
Okay, you need to share.
that's my thing. Luzerne, it's so good. I'll tell you my
Certain,
contact.
okay.
Yeah. It's expensive, but it's the thing I decided to spend my money on. So, I think that doing things when you're 20, whether it's having children or having a company, I see the wisdom in that now. But I wouldn't have had the wisdom to do those things, then. But the energy, it's a lot of energy.
I understand. I will tell you, you have it. It's in spades. Lean on it.
Thanks.
You're good. You're gonna, like, there's no question in my mind that you're gonna succeed.
Thank you.
And it's just about tapping into the right information and being okay to kind of slow down in order to speed up for a minute, right? So, like, just slow down, gather your information, have the right conversations, and suddenly, like, the light will flash and you'll say, oh, this is the model.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like I just need a little brain clear. I need a vacation. Who doesn't? But yeah, I definitely. So the other thing I said that I want to talk to you about was that the a combination of fear and anger around either what I've been through in this industry or what I want to prevent others going through, or n- not not doing what I'm setting out to do, or whatever it is. Like, but those are the things that are annoying to me. I don't have room in my life for anger or fear, but they're pretty ever present. Um,
So very often when we have an emotion that doesn't feel comfortable, we often just want it to go away, right? Like we say things like, I don't have time for fear and anger. And by the way, I say those things all the time too. Like, I don't have time to be miserable. I just, right?
yeah,
Except that those feelings are, think of them as informative information. And usually fear and anger are designed to protect you from something. And so my advice, and I don't know if you know much about the way I coach, is I encourage people to journal. But in this case, my advice is to ask yourself, what are these two things designed to protect me from? Right? Because when we have fear, we're more cautious, we're more alert, we're more
Yeah.
aware in some cases of our environment and our circumstances, the behavior of others. We're aware of perhaps maltreatment, etc. So you want to take some time to say, what exactly is this designed to do for me? What is it supposed to tell me? And once you understand the benefits of fear and anger, it's easier to let them go.
Yeah, I know the anger is my fuel 100%. And I know that, like, and I use it that way. And the reason I question it is because, like, I don't, it doesn't sound like a happy thing. Or, sounds like it could be a toxic thing. But I'm very aware that it's there.
Well, and again, it's there. We don't have to wrap our arms around it, but at the same time, we don't have to push it away. And so the question becomes, how do we almost become friends with these emotions and say, okay, they exist, they're here to serve me, but I don't really need to give them that much energy. Thank you, you're here. Now I'm going to move on, right?
Yeah.
So it's this kind of coming to an understanding with these emotions. And whenever we have any of these emotions, they're designed initially to protect us in some way. And
Yeah.
then once we realize that we don't actually need all that much protection, we're able to let it go with greater ease. So when you say the industry has treated me a certain way, I want to learn more about that. Maybe not on this particular podcast, but that
Yeah.
may be a one-on-one conversation, right? And so the question is, so how has that impacted you? What does that do for you? How does that impact your self-esteem and your self-confidence and the way you interact with the industry now?
Yeah. I mean, it's a combination, right? So female founders only get 2% of all the funding, period. So I have to work 98% harder. So it doesn't matter how many boxes I check, I still don't qualify or make the grade, right? And it's not about affirmation. It's about raising, about, like, I'm playing this particular game, and my fear around that is, so my anger is I want to rub it in, and I want to help other women not fucking go through this, right? Like, because I have a huge, very high tolerance for pain and frustration, very, very high, and I don't know how regular people could possibly fucking do this, be honest with you, right? Honest. But the fear is that I'm going to be that woman who almost makes it, you know.
And what if that were to happen? What would that mean about you? What would
Failure,
that say?
just failure.
But is that actually true?
It feels true.
So here's what happens is we attach ourselves, right? The value that we have to
Mhm.
some project,
Yeah, I've been here before in
right?
radio. I
Right,
was terrified to leave my personality behind, and it was actually super easy.
right.
But I know that it'll be fine, but because it always is, you know. But right
Well,
now it feels so present.
right. And so now there's a bit of an ethereal question is like, what's the game we play in this lifetime? Is it to be more efficient in our social media efforts? Is that the game we're playing in this lifetime? Or is the game we're playing in this lifetime to kind of maximize our joy, maximize our feelings of a reward? Is it like, what is it?
Oh, just to be a better human. I think it's very simple, right? That's
Right. And so when we change the rule, not the rules, but the destination, then failure doesn't factor in. So reaching a certain revenue target doesn't factor in. And it's hard to wrap your arms around it when you're a driven, go-getting, kick-ass female entrepreneur. But what happens is we tie ourselves in knots because we're after a certain number or a certain goal. And we associate ourselves and our value, our worth with that specific goal. And it's all arbitrary. We all just make it up.
I know, but
Yeah.
I know, but
So, but here's the cool part. If we could make that up, what else could we make up? And what could we make up that would feel much more satisfying, much more peaceful, much more joyful, as opposed to inventing things that create so much tension, stress, anger, and fear? So I know this is like getting out there, but it's a really important question, which boils down to the fact that the way we think affects the way we feel. And at
sure.
the end of the day, our lives, like the richness, the value of our lives is dependent on how we feel. When we feel crappy all the time, our lives are diminished.
I don't feel crappy all the time.
I don't think
Almost
so.
never. I almost never do, but it's there, it's not, you're right. And I remember learning that lesson. Thank you to The Secret. Remember the
But
book?
it's not so much, it's not, you know what? I'll tell you a very, very quick story.
Sure.
2 days ago, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw something that I did a double take, which is one of my clients that I had been working with for 8 years suddenly died. She had a
Oh,
brain aneurysm. She was
oh,
on the phone with a
sorry.
client and just suddenly stopped talking and she passed away. I was so shocked, so devastated. Because after 8 years, you you
It's a
become
long time.
friends,
You
like
know
they're your
somebody.
family,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then the question becomes, okay, so she worked so hard to achieve her goals, right? But
Mhm.
my purpose for her was to help her really, truly figure out how to enjoy every single moment of her life so
Mm.
that she can increase the wealth she experienced in her relationships, in her days, in how she used her time. So I think very often we're, I'll use the term fucked up
Yeah.
with how we look at the goals we have and what they mean about us if we reach them and if we don't.
Hmm.
So for me, failure is wrapping yourself around an arbitrary goal and making it mean you're a winner or a failure. Doesn't make sense. Sorry, we went down this road. It's like
No,
fresh for
it's
me right
good.
now.
I get it. Yeah, and I'm sorry about your friend.
No, yeah,
Um, yeah. Yeah, I know you're right. And I know these things. That's the thing is that like I'm centered and grounded enough so like it's all here, and I know
yeah,
that guides me. Um, but I'm human and so all the things
all
are around,
all
and
the things. Yeah,
yeah, I got a lot of people that keep me upright.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
very good. But again, as I said, like you have this incredible drive, this incredible determination, this passion oozing out of you, and continue to lead with that. And just ask a lot of questions, and suddenly that gut instinct will pop in and provide you with clarity. So lean into that. And when
Okay.
you say we've tried things that other people have told us and they haven't worked, perfect. You know that now.
I know. Why the fuck do we keep bothering with it? Because I don't know why. Ugh.
Well, I hope this conversation was useful.
Thank you so much, Kim. It was great to spend time with you. I
It
really
was
appreciate it.
great to spend time with you. Guys, how do people find you if they're interested in learning more about Lately?
Thanks. We're lately.ai. It's pretty easy. And lately AI is all of our handles at lately AI everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta.
We're going to
Um,
look you up.
yeah, we're very friendly. I promise.
See that. Thank you so much for being on this podcast, for sharing your challenge and your story and your energy and your beautiful personality and your awesome voice. Thank you for all of that. For those of you who are listening, if there is a challenge you want to share on the podcast, please reach out to me. My email address is kim@frameofmindcoaching.com. If there's a challenge that you want to talk about, but you do not want to share on the podcast, please reach out to me as well. My email address is kim@frameofmindcoaching.com. Kate, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure just talking to you.